Okay friends, welcome to another day of Crochet and Crime. My name is Hazy Baby. If you are new to my channel, then welcome. Today is the 31st of the 5th, 2023, so it's the last day of May. And basically, if you're new to my channel, like I said, welcome. And on this channel, I crochet while talking about crime. Today I am working on a top that someone has commissioned of me. It's a bit hard to see this because it's in black, and I hate working in black because it's so hard to see. But as you can see, this is just one square, a total of 7, I think. Anyway, I'm just working on the next round of these, and they'll go together and it'll show you. It'll be beautiful in the end. Yeah, if you would like to go into a draw to win one of my lovely creations, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel and write a comment, and you can go into the draw to win something. So yeah, without further ado, let me get this day started. And like I said, welcome, welcome, welcome. Take a seat. Today I'm working with a 3mm hook as opposed to a 4.5, which is what I usually work with. Black is, like I said, really difficult to work with sometimes. It's a bit hard to see. It's even harder to see through a camera lens, but we'll see how we go. This is the first time working with black on camera, where basically I need to be able to see. If you would like this pattern, I'm sorry I don't have it. It's not a pattern, I just make shit up as I go along. 2, 3, like I said, I just make stuff up as I go along. Yes, I probably should write a pattern, but I really couldn't be bothered, to be honest. Okie dokie, let's start with today's first story. So today is a story not out of Australia, but out of Delhi. So a 20-year-old man has been arrested in India after a teenage girl was allegedly murdered in a brutal stabbing attack in a crowded New Delhi street. So CCTV footage appears to show that a man repeatedly stabbed the 16-year-old as she cowered against a wall while people just walked past or stopped to watch. Like, how sad is that? Like, they actually stopped to watch the event. So instead of helping this poor girl, they just stopped and watched as she was stabbed to death. Nice. I think I'll go... What do you think? Should I do 2 or 3? Let's see what 2 looks like. So that's 1. And then we've got 2. What does that look like? Is that going to be enough? Nah, gonna have to be 3. Be sets of 3, I think. And I also think might need to be a double crochet in that corner since they're so high up. So I'll start that again. Yeah, okay. At one point, onlookers appeared to attempt to grab the blade from the attacker, but it was unsuccessful and walked away. The girl collapsed on the ground and he kicked and crumpled her body before fetching a large rock and repeatedly bludgeoning her with it. The girl was going to attend a birthday party of a friend's son when she was attacked, according to the local police. The footage published on social media has been viewed more than 1 million times and sparked an outcry for human rights groups across India. And really, let's face it, why did no one do anything? And why is it gotten so many views? That's disgusting. So Delhi Chief Minister, described the killing as very sad and unfortunate in a tweet. It's more than sad and unfortunate. And basically said that it's occurring because there is no fear of the police. So Indian police say that the teenager was in a romantic relationship with the accused. And the pair quarrelled the hours before the murder on Sunday. And then apparently he decided to stab and then bludgeon her to death. So, yeah, that's nice, isn't it? The accused, named a 20-year-old Sahil, was arrested in the village on Monday. It's the latest of a series of violent incidents against women and children in India that have made international headlines that have led to mass protests, which no doubt. I'm not going to watch the footage, and I don't recommend that you watch the footage because I feel like it's just voyeuristic at best. It's not helping anyone to watch that footage. It's just disgusting. So in September last year, a 12-year-old boy was left fighting for his life after he was gang raped and beaten in the Indian capital. So it's not just women who are being abused, it's men as well, boys. In 2021, the alleged rape and murder of a 9-year-old girl from one of India's most prominent castes sparked a protest, and it's still continuing today. So it's really sad that it doesn't seem like any of this stuff is kind of changing for the better. So let's hope that some of this can, be voiced and heard. But it sounds like it's not going to be. Hold on, I reckon 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then another cluster of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm just going to go grab my headphones, guys, because I realized that my voice is a little bit quiet today and I feel like maybe you can't hear me very well. So I'm just going to go grab my headphones and then I'll be back. Alrighty, hopefully you can hear my voice a little bit better now. Like I said, I was just being a little bit quiet, probably a little bit too quiet. Okay, so last week I spoke to you guys about a robbery of a jewelry store with over $200,000 in jewelry stolen. And I speculated that perhaps it was an inside job, or I hoped that they caught the assailants, if you will. And I have an update on that, guys. So a man has been charged over a $200,000 jewelry heist in a Brisbane armed robbery. So 2 men allegedly threatened the owner with a gun before taking about $200,000 in jewellery from the family-owned store on May 22nd. The offenders wore balaclavas so that their faces were not visible to CCTV of the robbery. The 2 staff members complied with the demands of the robbers at the time and were not physically injured. The 20-year-old man was arrested yesterday after police executed a search warrant in Flagston, where they allegedly found a car the offenders left the scene in. So Cody Shannon Blake has since been charged with the armed robbery and multiple weapon and drug offences. He was denied bail and will appear at Beenley's Magistrate Court today. So he's already appeared. Ta-da! Made him sound like some sort of wizard. Ta-da! I appeared at court. He was denied bail and he will, like I said. Police continue to search for the second person involved, but he's not being very forthcoming with that kind of news, which is, snitches get stitches. The next story is out of Australia still, and a man has been arrested after allegedly scamming elderly Aussies trying to flee the country. So a man has been arrested. Oopsie daisies, I dropped a stitch. This is why I hate black. I can't see it. The colour black when crocheting, just saying. I like me some mocha skin so no one get all upset it's spaghetti. 1, 2. So he's been arrested trying to flee the country after being involved in a $1 million crime syndicate. So the 37-year-old man was arrested at Sydney International Airport on Tuesday following the arrests of 2 others who were also allegedly involved in fraud and money laundering syndicate. The investigators believe that the ring ran up to $1.2 million worth of investment fraud. So that's cool. Police allege that the 37-year-old was trying to flee the country after orchestrating numerous phone scams targeting elderly and vulnerable Australians. So this has happened to my mum today. She got really panicky today because she sent me a text message letting me know that she got this message saying that she owed money to this Linked, which is like a a toll road in the city, and I haven't been on that toll road for more than a year now, a little bit under a year now, and she hasn't been into the city for ages, so it definitely wasn't a toll. But she started to panic because, it's in her name. They're saying that she owes money, and that's what happens. They get a little bit panicky, and they think they have to pay that bill straight away. And unfortunately, these are scams, and she doesn't owe anyone anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, yeah. So police also arrested a 27-year-old man from Campside, in southwest Sydney on February 6th following reports of telephone scams and money laundering. He was charged with recklessly dealing with the proceeds of a crime exceeding $5,000. The 36-year-old woman was arrested and charged with dealing with the proceeds of a crime exceeding $100,000. Investigators allege that the crime syndicate is still underway and an investigation is still underway. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't these sound like the most champion people? Don't you just want to be their best friends? 2, 3, 4, and 5. I know it makes me want to, never again see them. Sorry, I just dropped that stitch. If you ever drop a stitch, just do that. See what I just did? Just pick them all back up again. And slide through. And slide, and slide. And slide, and slide. So further charges are likely for the teen who allegedly fired multiple shots at a Western Australian school. So a teenager who allegedly fired multiple shots at a school, hitting a classroom as teachers and students scrambled for cover, is likely to face upgraded charges. So the 15-year-old boy, who cannot be named for legal reasons because he is under the age of consent, faced the Perth Children's Court on Tuesday via video link from custody. The court was told an application for bail could not be heard because the teenager was awaiting psychiatric assessment at the Banksia Hill Youth Detention Centre, which doesn't surprise me because he brought a gun to school and then he rang the police on it himself after he panicked when he shot one shot. So, he obviously has some sort of mental health problem, and I'm glad he's getting some help for that. There was another shooting today as well at a school again, but this one was in Sydney. If I remember the details correctly, they still don't have any information on it, but shots were fired into a classroom. They don't know who's fired the shots or where the shots have come from, but they were fired. No one was injured, thank goodness. But it's still really, really scary. We don't really have a lot of shootings here in Australia, so like I said, when they do occur, it's kind of really scary. It's scary everywhere, but it's more scary here because we're just not used to it. Not that I think you can get used to school shootings, but I think you get the gist. I think you're picking up what I'm putting down. 3. Yes, that's looking nice. Very nice indeed, very nice. Okay, so he's facing multiple charges in relation to an incident last week at the Beach Baptist College in Two Rocks, about 70 kilometres from Perth. They include discharging a firearm to cause fear, possessing a prohibited weapon, can't talk today, unlawful act with the intent to harm. And prosecutor Brad Hollingsworth, my name is Hollingsworth, on Tuesday said that it was very likely the boy would be charged with at least 2 counts of more serious offences of endangering life, health and safety of others. Flagging that the bail application is likely to be opposed, Hollingsworth said that the prosecution case would include a transcript of the 000 phone call made by the student, or the former student at this point. Other material, including communications between the boy and his friends and a statement provided by the teachers involved in the incident, will also be heard in the court. The magistrates remanded the teenager to custody and has now sent them to go and have an psychiatric assessment on Wednesday morning and return to court later in the day to hear his bail application. So I don't know what happened yet. I know it's later in the day today, but We don't really have an update on that one yet. Police allege that the boy used 2 rifles to shoot 3 rounds at the school. There you go, it's more than I thought. I thought he only did 1. At the school in the car park while he was inside the vehicle. The incident forced the school into lockdown as students and teachers hid in a storeroom, probably freaking frightened for their life. Forensic officers were seen analysing 2 bullet holes about 5 metres apart on the side of a demountable classroom. Now those things are like pretty much just fiberglass on wheels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Asbestos on wheels is what we used to call them when we were in high school. They're not anymore. And one was above the external doorway of the other side of the window. There's a clear view of about 30 metres wide of grass courtyard adjacent to the car park. So I don't know if he was actually aiming at anyone. So body-worn camera footage shows officers called to the scene, took the boy into the custody without incident. The shooting is understood to be the first of its kind in WA, and WA is cracking down on their gun laws. So is the NT. So we will see how that all pans out. Comes out in the wash, as they say. But we shall see. But like I said, this is not the first school shooting that we've had here in Australia, but it is the first one we've had in a really long time. And it is the first of 2 this week. Like this week has had 2 shootings. I don't know any details about the Sydney one, although I could probably look it up right now. Hold on. Let's see. I'll do a quick look up. Okay, totally reckless. So young primary school students inside classroom when bullet shot through the window in Sydney. So year 1 and 2 students were inside, little babies, were inside a classroom when a bullet smashed into the window at the school in Sydney's southwest on Tuesday afternoon, so yesterday afternoon. Investigators have confirmed the incident at the Macquarie Fields Public School was just after 12:45 p.m. was not a targeted attack on the school. So unlike the WA one, which was targeted by a student, this one was not targeted. The investigators confirmed that none of the teachers or the students were injured in any way, which is great. Detective Superintendent Grant Heatley labelled it as a totally reckless act. So, for the little kids at the time, they just heard the smash in the window, so hopefully they're not too traumatized. It's a totally reckless act by someone who's acting in a way with a firearm that's dangerous into the community. So they believe that the bullet hit the classroom without much force, so they think that it came from a really far away. So someone must have discharged a firearm somewhere in the community, and it, once you discharge it, it has to go somewhere, and it lodged itself into the primary school. So they're lucky they didn't kill anyone. Early investigations reveal the projectile might have come from some distance away, like I just said. The bullet has come into the classroom, but it just been stopped blind, so it hasn't come into the classroom with enough speed or velocity. So it didn't actually, it didn't enter with any sort of damage. It just had enough velocity to smash the window itself, but it's glass, so it's easy smashed. Initially, the police were called as reports the classroom window had been broken by a metal projectile. So that's how less the force was. That they just thought it was a metal projectile. Sounds so fancy. A metal projectile. Jesus, can you tell I'm a writer? Sometimes I say the most weirdest things. Investigators have revealed that the object is a small caliber bullet which has been seized and will be forensically examined by the specialist police. A New South Wales police statement has said. So officers are asking for anyone with any information to come forward as ballistics teams continue to investigate. A parent of the school told Nine News that it was a scary incident, which it would have been, and that his daughter's classroom was close to where the bullet was found. It's going to give them extra hugs and kisses tonight, which is totally understandable. Families were just sent a letter at 4 p.m. saying that the children had been removed from the classroom, but they didn't tell them exactly what had happened. But in all fairness, they didn't really know what had happened. They thought it was just some sort of metal projectile through the window, like someone had thrown a rock or something. They didn't realize it was an actual gunshot because, like I said, it was from some distance away, and they didn't hear the reverberation of the gunshot, just heard the window smashing. So... But yeah, so we can't really blame the school for not telling the parents that it was a gunshot, because at 4 p.m. they probably themselves didn't know that it was a gunshot. So let's not, and plus they wouldn't have wanted to, freak the parents out either. I wouldn't have. I want to try and, contain that sort of, you don't want them to be fearful. Contain the fear. Contain it. So yeah, and that is the end of shootings for today, hopefully. Or school shootings, anyway. But yeah, you're welcome. I just thought I'd better give that kind of information to you guys. I know you guys loved my crime channel. This one's not really a crime. I mean, disarming probably is. Firing a weapon. Hopefully they get charged with whatever. So, that's that next layer of this. So obviously it's going to be like some sort of see-through top. And I'll show you it when it's finished. But I have the other two that I did yesterday. Go have a look at my videos if you want to see what they look like. And I'll move on to a new story, and I'll move on to a new square. I don't know what that one is, just so short. It's just one line. The story is one line long, and it says, police are investigating a possible link between a shooting in an Auburn home and a car set alight in Granville. That's it. That's the whole story. Okay, thanks for that. Helpful? Not. Okie dokie, artichoke. So let's move on. Theranos. So Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes enters prison, finally. So this is a story that's been going on forever, but Theranos, I have done a video on it before, so if you want to go check through my videos and have a look, you can have a wee gander. So I'm not going to repeat myself because that's boring, and who wants to listen to me say the same story again and again and again and again? So instead, I will just give you a little recap. So she was a pretty much Steve Jobs wannabe, and she tried to make millions of dollars, basically, from an idea about a machine that you could use in a chemist, or so instead of saying getting a blood test, or one prick of your finger, and you would be able to be diagnosed for things like cancer or diabetes, or, a whole bunch of stuff. But it didn't work because it's not possible to do that with one drop of blood. So eventually it was found out, and found out to be fraudulent, and there was all these trials happening. Anyway, long story short, she's finally in prison. So let me tell you a little bit about that. So Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes has entered the Texas prison, where she will spend the next 11 years for overseeing a blood testing hoax that became a parable about greed and hubris in Silicon Valley. So Holmes, 39, overnight entered the federal women's prison camp located in Bryan, Texas, where the federal judge who sentenced Holmes in November recommended she be incarcerated. The minimum security facility is about 150 kilometers northwest of Houston, apparently, where Holmes grew up, aspiring to become a technological visionary alongside the lines of Apple co-creator Steve Jobs. Like I said, she'll want to be Steve Jobs. She even dressed like him, the whole black turtleneck up under her chin kind of thing, the whole 9 yards. So as she begins her sentence, Holmes is leaving behind 2 young children. So when she was first caught, she didn't have any children, and now she has 2 children. So let's just say she's obviously quite selfish. Her son was born in July 2021, and a few weeks after the start of her trial, and a 3-month-old daughter who was conceived after the jury convicted her on a 4 felony counts, and of fraud and conspiracy in January of 2022. So she enters prison, leaving behind a newborn baby and a small toddler. So what a twat muffin. Holmes was free on bail until Tuesday, and she most recently living in San Diego area with the children's father, Billy Evans. The couple met in 2017 around the same time that Holmes was under investigation for the collapse of Theranos, a startup she had founded, and after dropping out of Stanford University when she was 19. While she was building up Theranos, Holmes grew closer to Ramesh or Sunny Balwani, who would become her romantic partner as well as an investor in a fellow executive of Palo Alto, California company. So they pretty much defrauded a bunch of Silicon Valley billionaires and millionaires for investment into this company. So the hype surrounding that propelled breakthrough helped Theranos raise at least $1 billion or $1.53 billion from enthralled investors, assembled an influenced board of directors that included former president, cabinet member George Shultz, Henry Kissinger, and James Mathis, and turned Holmes into Silicon Valley sensation with a fortune value of up to $6.9 billion on paper in 2014. But it blew up after serious dangerous flaws in Theranos' technology were exposed in a series of expose articles by the Wall Street Journal after a whistleblower of hers came forward to give information. So they had been Holmes and Balwani had been secretly living together while running Theranos, apparently. And when I say they had a secret affair, he was in his 40s. And she was very young. So, yeah. So the company collapsed, obviously, once it all came out, and they spent years in and out of court. So in 2018, the U.S. Justice Department charged both with the litany of white-collar crimes aimed at putting a stop to Silicon Valley practice of overselling its capacities and still developing technology, a technique which is called fake it till you make it, which, a lot of people do. I mean, I'm all for dress for the job you want, not the job that you have. That makes sense. Fake it till you make it thing, but you also have to be kind of realistic about whether you'll actually ever make it. The whole point is that eventually you will make it, hence the fake it till you make it part, not fake it to make it. No, it's until you make it. So that's the operative word there, if you will. So Holmes admitted making mistakes at Theranos, but steadfastly denied committing crimes during the 7 often fascinating days of testimony on the witness trial stand. At one point, she told the jury that she'd been sexually and emotionally abused by Balwani, while he controlled her in ways that, she said, clouded her thinking. His lawyer, steadfastly denied Holmes's allegations, and I kind of agree. If you see the way they interact with each other, I just call bullshit. She's doing that whole stereotypical, oh, woe is me, I'm a poor girl. In which one of the key reasons they were tried separately. So that's why the lawyer wanted them to be tried separately. So Balwani was 57, was convicted of 12 felony counts of fraud and conspiracy in a trial that began 2 months after Holmes's one ended. He's currently serving nearly 13 years in a Southern California prison. So isn't it amazing how she was the one who founded it? She was the one, the brains behind the act. She was the one who got everyone there and did all the stuff, and she only got 11 years and he gets 13. So, maintaining that she was treated unfairly during the trial, Holmes sought to remain free while she appeals her conviction, but that bid was rejected by the US District Judge Edward DeVita, who presided over her trial and just pretty much called bullshit. In the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, leaving her with no avenue left but to take her to prison nearly 20 years after she founded Theranos. So lawyers representing Holmes did not immediately respond when contacted by the Associated Press for a statement on Tuesday, which is, fair. This has played out in the media for a long time. But it is a minimum security prison located about 150 kilometers northwest of Houston, encompasses about 37 acres of land, and houses about 650 women, including Real Housewives of Salt Lake star Jennifer Sarr, who was sentenced earlier this year to 6.5 years of prison for defrauding thousands of people in a years-long telemarketing scam. So I'm going to have to find that one out because that sounds so interesting. I did not know about that. I don't really watch reality TV, so why would I? So most federal prison camps don't even have fences, and those by the Bureau of Prisons consider to be the lowest security risk. So it's pretty much she's just gone to this detention center more than a prison. They have minimal staffing, and the people inside the prison have jobs. Isn't that nice of them? So according to the American whatever it's called, they can get jobs that earns them between 18 cents and $1.76 an hour. But let's face it, they're in prison and everything is paid for, so they don't need a lot of money. So, but how the mighty have fallen. But that's all I have to say about her now. I'm done with this story. I wipe my hands of Theranos. Like that. Okay? Alrighty, I'll be back in a second. I've just realised that my dog needs to go out. Give me 1 second. She's looking at me like, I don't have a second. I need to do these. Okay, so moving back to Australia now, there has been some new CCTV images released over a deadly shooting in Melbourne. So, I know I said no more shootings, but apparently there's more. But wait, there's more. So new vision has been released today after two men, police are looking for, following a double murder in Melbourne's southwest. So the victim, a 29-year-old and a 22-year-old, died after armed, masked intruders burst into their Wyndham Vale home and shot them earlier this year. So the footage taken at the petrol station in Werribee at 2:30 a.m. on Saturday, February 11th, 2023, shows two men who were travelling in a black Toyota Estima that police are hoping that we can speak to. They can speak to. I don't want to speak to them. They murdered people. I don't want to talk to them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and last one. 6. As you can see, black is so hard to see in between. So both men are described as African in appearance with slim builds. The first was wearing a grey jumper with a red hood and black Nike brand track pants, Nike sliders, and his face was in a mask. The second was wearing a black hoodie, black pants, and white Nike trainers. Sorry. Police are also today releasing an image of the blue Toyota Camry with distinctive silver bonnet, which is pictured at a fast food drive-through in Lavington North just after 6 a.m. on February 11th. So the double killing happened after a group of 3 vehicles in a convoy pulled up outside of a home in Wyndham Vale after 2:45 a.m. The group of males got out of the car and approached 5 males who were in the garage of the property. After a heated dispute, shots were fired and victims were assaulted with edged weapons before the attackers left the area in 3 vehicles. 2 men were found at the property with fatal wounds, while a third man, aged 23, was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. The 2 fatalities have since been identified as Atim, who was 29, and 22-year-old Atul Ayik. I think that's how you say their names, I'm so sorry. Both of who were from Wynnum Vale. 2 other residents were in the garage at the time, but not injured. But a pet dog at the property was shot dead. So, probably because it was defending its owner. In May, police released footage of 3 vehicles stopping at a nearby street in Wynnum Vale only minutes before the fatalities took place. Hold on a second. Several people got out of the vehicles, and it appears that they have been involved in a discussion on the street before the trio of cars drove off. So they all got together in like a convoy. Investigators remain keen to speak to anyone who recognizes these vehicles or the people traveling in them. So if you want to have a look at the actual CCTV footage, then just head on over to the 9 News website and you can have a look on there and see that yourself. So police believe that the incidents were gang-related and a deliberate attack, but now believe those killed and injured were not likely to be like planned attacks, but maybe they were just planned to like go there and, you know, confront these other people, but they didn't plan to like actually kill them. But we don't know any information, and that's all speculation at the moment. So if you have any information, please call Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333-000. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more equals 5. Excellent. Alrighty, so let's move on to our next story for the day. And our next story for the day is about a deodorant bomb. So, if you've been watching Australian news, you would have seen that there was a factory that was on fire in Surrey Hills. And the factory was on fire down a very narrow corridor of like apartment buildings, and the fireys worked extra hard on keeping that blaze to the factory itself and it not jumping to the other buildings. And I even watched live as it jumped onto someone's like veranda and burnt their whole garden until the fireys got it under control, thank goodness. But apparently there is a deodorant bomb theory which is under investigation. So a deodorant bomb theory is one line of inquiry that arson investigators are looking at as they examine the potential cause of the Surrey Hills fire that gutted a factory and closed down CBD streets last week. So Ben Foreman reported that one of these boys who came forward to speak to the police after the incident had spoken to his friends who were about making deodorant bombs. That information was then passed on to the Fordman by the parents of the other children. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So pretty much the other kids were like, this is not cool, man. And they dobbed him in, which is fair. As soon as I was told, I contacted the New South Wales Police to make sure the investigations were aware of it. They told the Air this morning, said investigations were looking into aerosol cans as one line of inquiry. So it gutted the whole business, like the whole factory went down. You could see the fire from space pretty much. I don't know if I'll lift up my camera. Can you see that fire? Whoa. I'll just lifted up my whole camera for that. So all the boys have been let go so far pending further inquiries, and detectives have not yet said if any of the 4 will be charged. So far, no deaths from the fire have been reported, thank goodness, though 2 homeless people are believed to be unaccounted for. Oh, so there might be deaths yet. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Super, super sad. Super, super sad. So after cadaver dogs entered the building yesterday, it said that police were optimistic that nobody has been killed, but the investigation is still ongoing. So cadaver dogs didn't sniff anything unusual. So, well, usual. Okie dokie, so this next story is out of Sydney, and where an elderly man plays dead after being threatened with a gun in a Sydney home invasion. So an elderly man played dead when thieves broke into his home, clever dude, restraining his wife and threatening him with a gun in Sydney's southwest. The 81-year-old man and wife were asleep when the thieves broke into their Edward Street home in Carlton at 11 p.m. New South Wales police said that the 76-year-old woman had fallen asleep in the lounge and was restrained by one of the men. My husband would never let me fall asleep on a couch. He'd always come out and get me. So cute. The husband was then assaulted and threatened with a firearm in his bedroom before the men fled with a small amount of cash and a safe and keys to their sedan. He pretended he had been killed to avoid further injury, which is fair. So the three thieves stole the couple's car, but they only drove about 15 meters before crashing it because they couldn't drive a manual, which is the reason why I have a manual. Both manuals. The man was treated at the scene by the New South Wales ambulance with minor injuries before being taken to St. George Hospital in a stable condition. The woman was not injured, however, she was taken to the hospital as a precaution, and police urge anyone with any information about this incident to come forward as they search for the three men. So they stole the car, couldn't drive it, crashed it into a tree or stalled it or whatever because they're useless and don't know how to drive a manual, and then, yeah. So all of that for what? For nothing. That's right, for nothing. If you said nothing, you are correct. It was for nothing. Okie dokie, artichokes. Let's move on. So a man is in critical condition after an alleged assault outside of a restaurant. So this is interesting. A man is in a critical condition, like I said, after he was allegedly punched in the head by another man on the Gold Coast. So they used to call that a king hit. Now we call it a coward punch because that's what it is and that's what it should be called. And one punch can kill, guys. Like, it's really important that people know this. One punch to the head can kill people. So, and this man's in a critical condition. So, and all it took was one punch. So Michael Hayes, 39, left Destino Restaurant on Hope Island on Saturday night after he was seen speaking to a man outside at 9:20 p.m. Queensland Police Detective Inspector Chris Aham said that the man delivered one blow to the head, causing Hayes to collapse to the ground. Just one single blow, and that's all it takes, guys. One single hit in the right spot, unexpected, which is why we call it a coward punch. It's usually like to the side of the head or the back of the head. And yeah, and you can be alive no more. The man is described as Caucasian, between the ages of 20 and 30, with short, dark hair. Police believe he was wearing a dark tracksuit, dark long-sleeved shirt over an over-the-shoulder satchel, so my man bag. He is known to police. However, detectives believe that he is not part of the outlaw motorcycle gang. Okay, alrighty. Hayes was taken to the Gold Coast University Hospital, where he remains in a critical condition with his family by his bedside, and our thoughts go out with him, and I agree. My thoughts definitely go out with you. I'm so sorry that this happened to you. He is on life support at the moment, but they hope that he can pull through. It's hard to tell when it comes to head injuries. If the swelling goes down, he might be able to pull through. Let's hope that he can, and let's hope that he doesn't have any serious consequences from lack of oxygen to his brain. Police are searching for CCTV footage as their investigation continues. So if you happen to be at this restaurant at that time, or you drove past, or you have any dash cam footage, then please contact police and hand it over, because that kind of information might be able to help. But if they know who he is, at least they can hopefully find him and prosecute him for assault. Hopefully it'll just be assault. Hopefully he'll be able to pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anyway, I think I have 1 or 2 more stories for you guys today, and then I'm done. So CCTV footage released an investigation into Zachary Davis Scott's shooting murder continues. So much shooting has been happening. So New South Wales police have released CCTV footage of a man they believe can assist the inquiries as the investigation continues into the fatal shooting of a 25-year-old man in Newcastle. So Zachary, also known as Zach Scott Davis, also known as Donny, he had a lot of nicknames, was shot in a home in Tatters Way at Greta, about 20 kilometres from Cessnock, on Tuesday the 27th of December 2022. A number of people had alleged forced entry into the home before Davis Scott was killed. The group left the scene in a white SUV, which was seen travelling erratically on the main road shortly after the incident. Detectives have now released security vision of a man at a Lambton station. So anyone who recognises the man or has any information at all that could assist this investigation is urged to come forward. And when it comes to this kind of stuff, guys, I don't believe in snitches, but I believe that we should be helping wherever we can. So if you see it, report it, basically. So Homicide Squad Commander Detective Acting Sergeant Virginia Gorman said that they really need the help. So let's give them a hand. We believe that someone must know something because, 2 people can't keep a secret. And our detectives are examining every piece of CCTV footage and looking for every clue possible. So hopefully they'll find out what the heck happened. And they're following every lead they possibly can. 2, hold on. 3. Oof. The man is described as being Caucasian in appearance with a solid build and dark hair. He's wearing a black t-shirt with a white Nike logo at the time, black shorts and a baseball cap, a crossbody bag and white shoes. So basically he looks like an Eshe. The appeal comes 3 months after the strike force detectives seized the white 2015 Mitsubishi Outlander on the streets of Baraloo near Newcastle. Detectives have previously said that they believe that the attack was targeted. We are treating this murder as a targeted attack, with detectives canvassing if Zach had any ongoing conflicts with anyone. And yeah, that's pretty much all the information that they have at the moment, and it's really sad that it's been several months since his shooting and they're no further to finding the culprits. So that sucks. Like I said, there's been a lot of shootings. I don't think I've ever read this many shootings as I have recently. Just so many. Just so many. And it's absolutely devastating and kind of a little bit sad as well. Okie dokie. So, and I have an update for you guys on a wheelie bin murder. So I'm talking about, of course, a man has been found guilty in Melbourne over a mum's wheelie bin murder. Well, she was murdered and then stuffed into a wheelie bin. So after killing Melbourne mum Kelly, her boyfriend watched a garbage truck empty her body from a wheelie bin. He was just found guilty of murder at a trial in Victoria's Supreme Court on Wednesday. So the two had been dating for just a month when Tan killed Kelly in her home of February of 2021 before stuffing her body into a wheelie bin and watching it get crushed by the bin man. So sad. So prosecutors told juries that Tan had murdered Kelly sometime between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. after sharing dinner with her and her 8-year-old son. So they had reported that the relationship with Tan had started, she had broken off her relationship with Tan, after she started seeing another man. And Tan was parked in her driveway, so pretty much stalking her at the time. Jurors were told that Tan told a friend that he believed that Kelly was cheating on him, and if he found out that that would be the case, he'd kill her, hug her, and then they could die together. It was alleged that Tan was told that a friend had fought with Kelly and killed her accidentally before cleaning up and moving her body to a laundry cupboard. So he told one person that if she was cheating, he would kill the person. And she wasn't cheating. She broke up with him. And even if she was cheating, it's not a reason to kill someone, just saying. And then that he would murder himself her and then himself. And then he told another friend that it was all an accident and he'd accidentally killed her and then didn't know what to do with her body afterwards, or didn't know what to do afterwards, which we all know is fucking bullshit. So jurors accepted the argument, but the prosecutors that Tan had moved her body to a wheelie bin, drove it into another suburb and placed it with others for collection. After driving Kelly's son to school, Tan returned and watched the garbage truck empty the wheelie bin before returning to Kelly's home. So he later searched online about how many years for killing a person do you get in prison in Australia, and how stinky is the garbage disposal in Australia. So it's so ridiculous. Kelly's body was discovered by police during a search of the Wallet landfill site in June of 2021. It suffered at least one stab wound to her heart. Tan will face pre-sentencing hearing at a later date, but he has been convicted of her murder. So that's good. I'm glad that he was convicted of her murder, and I hope he gets life in prison. Though I won't know until later. And that is the end of my lovely stories today, and I hope you've had a wonderful day watching me crochet this very difficult black yarn as I make my sister her tops that she commissioned me to make. If you would like to commission me to make you a top, or you a lovely crocheted something, just inbox me. That's all you have to do. So just comment on my video, on this video, and we can talk on there, and then I can give you my details. Or you can go find me on TikTok if you like. I'm over there. You'll find me as Hazy Baby, Crochet and Crime. I'm not hard to find. I'm the redhead, and Australian, so I'm a rare bird, if you will. I'm the 2% of the 2%. So yeah, come over and find me, DM me. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me over on those profiles, although most of my content is uploaded here. And I will be doing lives soon, very, very soon, and I will be uploading. I'm going to start, or at least try, writing patterns. So we shall see how we go. I mean, I'm not very good at it. I'll have a good crack at it. I might write some free ones to start with, and I don't know. But yeah, let me know if that's something you'd be interested in doing. But yeah, have a super duper wonderful day, guys, and I shall see you tomorrow.